Okay, Prabhu, you are live.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday class in ISKCON of Silicon Valley. We will be doing Mangalacharan in the beginning, invoking auspiciousness, and then we'll do a few minutes of Hare Krishna Kirtan. Then we'll go on to the topic for today. First of all, thanks to Mahaprabhu for helping with the broadcast. So, Prabhu, if you can share the Mangalachan prayers. Okay. Amagyanatimirandasya Gyanam Chanashalakaya Chakshurimitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurube Namaha Sri Chai Krishna Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sapidam Jena Bhutale Shamrupa Kagamayam Nadati Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raghunatanitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Sri Vishakamitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी वनमामि हरिप्रिये पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः Nitainaminiche namirhate Sradhamule nam nitechere Nitainaminiche namirhate Sradhamule nam nitechere O Nitainaminiche namirhate Sradhamule nam nitechere Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. So, we will talk today about Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories and also glories of his associates. We are very fortunate that we are in a Kali Yuga where the Lord personally comes as his devotee, which is none other than who is none other than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in this specific Kali Yuga. And the chapter that we are going to describe in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita we'll read is the advent of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So let me share my screen. Ashramada Prabhu, please let me know if you can see my screen as I share. Yeah, Prabhu, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the 13th chapter describes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. The entire Adilila describes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's household life, and similarly, the Antalila describes his life in the sannyasa order. Within the Lord's Antalila, the first 6 years of his sannyasa life are called the Mithalila. During this time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu toured southern India, went to Vrindavan, returned from Vrindavan, and preached the Sankirtana movement. A learned Brahmana named Upendra Mishra, who resided in the district of Srihatta. So before that, I just wanted to mention that this Upendra Mishra is Jagannath Mishra's father. So Srihatta is actually now called Sylhet, and it's situated in Bangladesh. It's actually called as Shripad because many of Lord's associates took birth in Srihatta. For example, Sri Advaitacharya, then there is Jagannath Mishra and his predecessors. Even Shivash Pandit's predecessors, they are from Srihatta. So Srihatta is called Sylhet now, and it's a city, and the Shripads or residences of the predecessors of Mahaprabhu and his associates are still there. So if you have a chance to visit Bangladesh, then please come to Srihatta. And we see that Upendra Mishra was the father of Jagannath Mishra, who came to Navadvip to study under the direction of Nilambar Chakravarti, and then settled there after marrying Nilambar Chakravarti's daughter Sachidev. So Jagannath Mishra actually came to Navadvip for studying, and during those times, scholars and those who wants to learn, they used to come to Navadvip because that was kind of the Oxford or Cambridge of during that time. So people from all over the India used to come to Navadvip to study, specifically Naya, and then Vyakarana. For this, Navadvip was very famous. People used to go to Kashi also, but for Vyakarana and Naya Shastra, Navadvip was the most famous. And also logic So people used to come from different places. So Jagannath Mishra also went to Navadvip, and there he studied under Nilamba Chakravarti, and he was also he was a great astrologer, Nilamba Chakravarti. And at the same time, he was a devotee of the Lord. So Nilamba Chakravarti has a Madan Gopal deity whom he used to serve. That deity is still there in Navadvip. I think some of you have also seen that Gopala deity. Very beautiful, bluish complexion. So Nilamba Chakravarti's daughter was Sachi Devi, and Jagannath Mishra got married to Sachi Devi, and then he settled there. Sri Sachi Devi gave birth to 8 children, all daughters who died one after another immediately after birth. So here we see something interesting that Sachi Devi also gave birth to 8 daughters, like Devaki gave birth to 6 sons who were killed by Kamsa after they took birth. And then the seventh son, Balaram, was transferred to Rohini's womb by Yogamaya on the order of Sri Krishna. And then, as the eighth son, Sri Krishna Chandra came in the womb of Devaki. Similarly, we see here that 8 daughters, Swati gave birth, but all of them actually died one after another, immediately after birth. So there is some resemblance, right? So the womb was actually, Acharya says, was getting prepared, Swati womb, to conceive the Lord and his elder brother. So here we see 9th pregnancy, she gave birth to a son who was named Vishwarup, who was none other than an expansion of Sankarshan. Then in 1407 Shaka era, after that 1486, in the full moon evening of the month of Falguna. So in Bengal, the and there are 2 months which are related with the spring season. They are Falgun and Chaitra. So Falgun comes after. Falgun is the first month in the spring season, and then the next month is Chaitra. So during this month of Falgun, we see with the constellation of Simha, Leo on the horizon. So this is very significant. Having the constellation of Simha in the horizon, then the Lord gets a Simha Lagna. And in case of the Lord, we can see the Lord, when he takes an incarnation or he incarnates in the world, many cases he has the same Lagna and the same Rashi. So, same zodiac. So here we see he had Simha Lagna, and then he also actually, the Rasi is also Simha Rasi. And similarly, when Lord Krishna took birth, he was in Vrishabha Lagna, and then his Rashi was also Vrishabha. So this is something very significant. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared as the son of Sri Sachidevi and Jagannath Mishra. After hearing of the power of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, learned scholars and brahmanas, bringing many gifts, came to see the newborn baby. There's a tradition when any new baby is born, people from neighbors, then relatives, friends, they come and visit and they bring gifts. So here we see the same thing. Many scholars, because Navadvip is full of scholars. So even those who were nearby Jagannath Mishra, there were Gadadhat Pandit's father, then there was Srivas Pandits, all of them were scholars actually. So, and then many of them are Brahmanas who were staying in Navadvip. So they all came and they brought so many gifts to see the newborn baby. And it said actually the demigods, they came as human beings, and their uh, wives, the demigoddesses, they also came with different gifts to give to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and just to take a darshan of this feature of the Lord, when the Lord is very small, uh, probably staying in his mother's lap, very auspicious and rare to observe. Niramba Chakravarti, as we discussed, he was a very great astrologer, right? So Niramba Chakravarti was a great astrologer, immediately prepared a horoscope. And by astrological calculation, he saw that the child was a great personality. So this is what uh, learned astrologers used to do during those times. They were able to prepare a horoscope of the child, and then they used to do astrological calculation uh, to find out about the child. So there, some uh, things can be deduced from the horoscope. What will be the future of the child? So at the same time, if the child will become a great person, there are ways to find that out from a horoscope and by seeing the external feature of the child. So we'll see that this chapter will also describe the symptoms of this great personality. So let me go text my text, and I'd like to have an advanced view. Okay. Saprasidatu Chaitanya Devasya Prasadata Talila Varnani Yogya Satya Sadpadamopi Ayam. I wish the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even one who is fallen can describe the pastimes of the Lord. Let's go to the purport. To describe Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Lord Sri Krishna, one needs supernatural power, which is the grace and mercy of the Lord. Without this grace and mercy, one cannot compose transcendental literature. By dint of the grace of the Lord, however, even one who is unfit for a literary career can describe wonderful transcendental topics. Description of Krishna is possible for one who is empowered. Krishna Shakti Bina Nahe Tar Pravartan. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antarlila 7.11 verse, we can see. Unless endowed with the mercy of the Lord, one cannot preach of the Lord's name, fame, qualities, form, entourage, and so on. It should be concluded, therefore, the writing of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami manifests specific mercy bestowed upon the author. Although he thought of himself as the most fallen, we should not consider him fallen because he describes himself as such. Rather, anyone who is able to compose such transcendental literature is our esteemed master. Such a wonderful purport Srila Prabhupada gave us. So here, Krishna Kaviraj Goswami is mentioning that he's saying himself as fallen, but he's saying because he got the grace of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was able to discuss the pastimes of the Lord. And that's what is very evident. Krishna Shakti Bina Nahe Pravartan. So without the Lord's bestowed potency, one cannot preach the Lord's glories, his name, fame, qualities, form. And also at the same time, Prabhupada is saying we shouldn't consider Krishna Kaviraj Goswami as fallen, though he's saying so because he's being humble actually. And Prabhupada is saying that we should consider him as our master. So, because writing such an epic like Chaitanya Charitamrita is not just a literary scripture. There are many scholars in Bengal who consider Chaitanya Charitamrita a great composition. They consider analytical of the meters, how the composition has been done and all. But this book is beyond all those literary kind of, I'd say, what they say, pathing. So those kind of literary ornamentation and all, like um, scholar critique, it's beyond that because it describes the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that itself makes it faultless. So without empowerment, the Lord's empowerment, we cannot do anything. That's what actually Krishna Goswami reminding us in the beginning. Jai Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Gaura Chandra Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Jaya Nityananda. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Advaita Chandra, all glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Jaya Jaya Gadadhar, Jaya Srinivas, Jaya Mukunda Vasudev, Jaya Haridas. All glories to Gadadhar Prabhu, all glories to Sivas Thakur, all glories to Mukunda Prabhu and Vasudev Prabhu. All glories to Haridas Thakur. Jaya Damodar Swarup, Jaya Murari Gupta, Ishab Chandra Daya Tamakvila Lupta. All glories to Swarup Damodar and Murari Gupta. All these brilliant moons have together dissipated the darkness of this material world. So they are considered as moons. And when all of them appear together at Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the darkness and ignorance which were there, actually it was meant that what it was mentioned, implied by Krishna Kaviraj Goswami is the world was actually getting devoid of bhakti to the Lord. There in Navadvip, there were a lot of exercise of knowledge, grammar, rhetorics, logic, all these were going on. But the glories of Lord's holy name, the devotional service towards the Lord was not getting prominence. But then when all this moon came, then that actually dissipated the darkness, which is like ignorance and the that lacking of devotional service and the chanting of holy name of the Lord, those actually got eradicated. Joy Sri Chaitanya Chandra Bhakta Chandra Gan Shabar Prem Josnai Ujjala Tribhuvan. All glories to the moons who are devotees of the principal moon, Lord Chaitanya Chandra. Their bright moonshine illuminates the entire universe. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Anyone would like to read the purport who are in the assembly? Vasudevan Prabhu, would you like to read the purport? Or Kartik Prabhu? Shrimata Prabhu, would you like to read the purport? Okay, I think I will go ahead. In this verse, we find the moon.
Yeah, I can. Am I audible now?
Yes, Prabhu, you're audible.
Yeah, now I'll read. In this verse, we find the moon described as Chandraguna, which is plural in number. This indicates that there are many moons. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Nakshatram aham sasi. Among the stars, I am the moon. All the stars are like the moon. Western astronomers consider the stars to be suns, but Vedic astronomers, following the Vedic scriptures, consider them moons. The sun has the ability to shine powerfully, and the moons reflect the sunshine and therefore look brilliant. In the Caitanya Charitamrita, Krishna is described to be like the sun. The Supreme Powerful is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, or Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his devotees are also bright and illuminating because they reflect the Supreme Sun. The Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22:31 states, Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Haya Andarakara. Yahan Krishna, Tahan Nahi Mayadhra Adhikara. Krishna is bright like the sun. As soon as the sun appears, there is no question of darkness or nascence. Similarly, the present verse also describes that by the illumination of all the moons, brightened by the reflection of Krishna's sun, or by the grace of all the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the entire world will be illuminated despite the darkness of Kali Yuga. Only the devotees of Lord Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can dissipate the darkness of Kali Yuga, the ignorance of the population of this age. No one else can do so. We therefore wish that all the devotees of Krishna consciousness movement may reflect the Supreme Sun and thus dissipate the darkness of the entire world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, as we can see here, uh, actually, Bindavandas Thakur in Chaitanya Bhagavat, he mentions this kind of people as Pashandi, because he explains that their heart has become very hard because of just focusing on rules and regulations and minimizing the importance of bhakti, devotion to the Lord. So Mahaprabhu and his associates came to reinstate the glories of devotional service and to give us the blessings of chanting and glorifying the Lord and the Sankirtan movement that we are in now. এই তো কহিল গ্রন্থারম্ভে মুখবন্ধ এবে কহি চৈতন্য লীলা ক্রম অনুবন্ধ. Thus I have spoken the preface of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now I shall describe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes in chronological order. প্রথমে তো সূত্র রূপে করিয়ে গণন, পাছে তাহা বিস্তারিত করিব বিবরণ. First, let me give a synopsis of the Lord's pastimes, and I shall describe them in detail. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Navadive Avatari 48 বৎসর প্রকট বিহরি. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, adventing himself in Navadvip, was visible for 48 years, enjoying his pastimes. 1407 শকে জন্মের প্রমাণ, 1455 হইল অন্তর্ধান. In the year 1407 of the Shaka era, which is after that of the Christ 1486, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. And in the year 1455, which is after that 34, he disappeared from this world. So he manifested his first time for 48 years around. 24 বৎসর প্রভু কইল গৃহবাস, নিরন্তর কইল কৃষ্ণ কীর্তন বিলাস. For 24 years, Lord Chaitanya lived in the Grihasthashram, household life, always engaging in the pastimes of the Hare Krishna movement. 24 বৎসর শেষে করিয়া সন্ন্যাস, আর 24 বৎসর কইল নীলাচলে বাস. After 24 years, he accepted the renounced order of life, sannyasa, and he resided for 24 years more at Jagannath Puri. তার মধ্যে 6 বৎসর গমনাগমন, কভু দক্ষিণ কভু গৌড় কভু বৃন্দাবন. Of these last 24 years, he spent the first 6 continually touring India, sometimes in South India, sometimes in Bengal, and sometimes in Vrindavan. So what do you see? First 24 years, he did pastime as a householder in Navadvip, and then last 24 years, he enacted pastime of a sannyasi. He took sannyas from Keshav Bharati, and he took initiation from Ishwarapuri. So first he took initiation from Srila Ishwarapuri in Gayadham, and he went to he went to offer the pinda for his father, and then later he accepted sannyasa from Keshav Bharati. So after that, in the beginning of the 24 years, first 6 years, he actually did a lot of touring because he wanted to preach, and then he did start the Sankirtan movement and preaching in South India, and then he went to Bengal also, and then he went to Vrindavan. So অষ্টাদশ বৎসর রহিলা নীলাচলে কৃষ্ণ প্রেম নামামৃতে ভাসাইল সকলে. For the remaining 18 years, he continuously stayed in Jagannath Puri, chanting the nectarian Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He inundated everyone there in a flood of love of Krishna. So last 18 years, he just stayed in Jagannath. He didn't go anywhere or travel anywhere. He chanted the nectarian Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then he just submerged everyone in the love of Krishna. So all associates from Bengal also used to go to Puri Dham during the Rath Yatra festival, and then there used to be a lot of festivities. The Lord released his pastimes with his associates, and then he took part in the Rath Yatra festival. He used to go to Gundicha. Then he used to come back with the Lord in Puri. And then he also used to have different pastimes with his devotees. So he had devotees there from who were based in Puri Dham. Some of the Bengali devotees, they went to Puri Dham, and then also in some cases he used to take prasadam in different devotees' place. গার্হস্থ্যে প্রভুর লীলা আদি লীলা খ্যান মধ্যান্ত লীলা শেষ লীলার দুই নাম. The pastimes of his household life are known as the Adi Leela, or the original pastimes. His later pastimes are known as Madhya Leela and Anta Leela, or the middle and final pastimes. আদি লীলার মধ্যে প্রভুর জাতিক চরিত সূত্ররূপে মুরারি গুপ্ত করিলা গ্রথিত. All the pastimes enacted by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Adi Leela were recorded in summary form by Murari Gupta. So Murari Gupta has a book which is called Murari Gupta's Karacha. So there it's like Murari Gupta's diary. So there he included all the pastimes that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did in his Adi Leela. And obviously a summary from the Lord's pastimes are unlimited, and it's not possible to describe them in one literature, but he tried to make a summary. So Murari Gupta was a very dear associate of the Lord, and he is an incarnation of Hanuman, and he was a doctor. প্রভুর যে শেষ লীলা স্বরূপ দামোদর সূত্র করে গ্রন্থিলেন গ্রন্থের ভিতর. His later pastime, the Madhya Leela and Anta Leela, were recorded in the form of notes by Secretary Sarup Damodar Goswami, and thus kept within a book. So his Madhya Leela and Anta Leela pastimes, those were recorded actually in a book as notes. It's called Sarup Damodar's diary. So he actually enlisted the later pastimes of the Lord, and Sarup Damodar was staying very close with the Lord. The Lord used to share his internal feelings with Sarup Damodar and Sri Ramananda Rai. So Sarup Damodar had seen personally a lot of pastimes of the Lord, especially his later pastimes, the Madhya Leela and Anta Leela, and he enlisted all those in his diary. And these two are the sources from where Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami took the materials to two of the main sources to create Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, or to write Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. এই দুইজনের সূত্র দেখিয়া শুনিয়া বর্ণনা করেন বৈষ্ণব প্রামজে করিয়া. By seeing and hearing the notes recorded by these two great personalities, a Vaishnava, a devotee of the Lord, can know these pastimes one after another. বাল্য পৌগণ্ড কৈশোর যৌবনচারী ভেদ অতএব আদিকণ্ডে লীলাচারী ভেদ. In his original pastime, there are four divisions: Balya, Poganda, Kaishara, and Yavana. Childhood, early boyhood, later boyhood, and youth. सर्वसद्गुणपूर्णं तं वन्दे फाल्गुनपूर्णिमां यस्यां श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य भक्तिर्न कृष्णनामभि. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the full moon evening in the month of Falguna, an auspicious time full of auspicious symptoms, when Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advented himself with the chanting of the holy name Hare Krishna. So it was actually a moon eclipse of lunar eclipse. So during eclipse time, it is considered everything becomes polluted. So everyone was actually chanting the holy name of the Lord to purify themselves. Some were actually in the Ganges, they were like knee deep in the water and they were chanting the holy names of the Lord. And during that auspicious time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took birth. Falguna Purnima Sundai Prabhur Jarmadai, সেই কালে দৈব যোগে চন্দ্রগ্রহণ হয়. On the full moon evening of the month of Falguna, when the Lord took birth, coincidentally, there was also a lunar eclipse. হরি হরি বলে লোক হর্ষিত হইয়া জন্মিলা চৈতন্য প্রভু নাম জন্মাইয়া. In jubilation, everyone was chanting the holy name of the Lord, Hari, Hari. And Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then appeared, after first causing the appearance of the holy name. So before he appeared, everyone started chanting the holy name. So the holy name appeared first, and then Mahaprabhu appeared in the womb of Sachideva. জন্ম বাল্য পৌগণ্ড কৈশোর যুবকালে হরি নাম লয় এলো প্রভু নানা চলে. At his birth, in his childhood, in his early and later boyhood, as well as in his youth, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu under different pleas induced people to chant the holy name of Hari, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. বাল্য ভাব চলে প্রভু করেন ক্রন্দন কৃষ্ণ হরি নাম শুনি রহয়ে রোদন. In his childhood, when the Lord was crying, he would stop immediately upon hearing the holy names Krishna and Hari. অতএব হরি হরি বলে নারীগণ দেখিতে আইসে যে পাপ সর্ববন্ধুজন. All the friendly ladies who came to see the Lord would chant the holy names Hari Hari as soon as the child would cry. So see, the Lord was actually already in his childhood inducing so many people to chant the holy names of the Lord. He was very inventive in his preaching, as you can see. And we also need to be, obviously, we need to follow the previous acharyas, but then, as his case, Vaishnav Prabhu also says, when we are doing book distribution or any preaching work, we need to adjust it according to time, place, and circumstances. গৌর হরি বলি তারে হাসে সর্বনারী অতএব হইল তার নাম গৌর হরি. When all the ladies saw this fun, they enjoyed laughing and called the Lord Gaura Hari. So Gaura means who has fair complexion. Hari means Lord. So they named him the name of the Lord, though they didn't know that he is the Lord himself. From then on, Gaurahari became another of his names. বাল্য বয়স যাবৎ হাতে ঘুরি দিল পৌগণ্ড বয়স যাবৎ বিবাহ না কইল. His childhood lasted until the date of Hatekhari, which means time to start. Vidyarambh, it's called in Sanskrit. So it's the time when they start their studies or writing. The beginning of his education and his age from the end of his childhood until he married is called Purganda. So his childhood lasted till he got initiated to study or he started taking education in Gangadas Pandit's, they called it Chatushpati or school. And then his age from the end of his childhood, from the beginning of his education, and when he got married, before that, is called pagan marriage. বিবাহ করিলে হইল নবীন যৌবন, সর্বত্র লোয়াইল প্রভু নাম সংকীর্তন. After his marriage, his youth began, and in his youth, he induced everyone to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra anywhere and everywhere. পৌগণ্ড বয়সে পড়েন পরাণ শিষ্যগণে, সর্বত্র করেন কৃষ্ণ নামের অব্যাখ্যানে. During his Purganda age, he became a serious student and also taught disciples. In this way, he used to explain the holy name of Krishna everywhere. সূত্রবৃত্তি প্রাচীটিকা কৃষ্ণের তাৎপর্য, শিষ্যের প্রতীত হয় প্রভাব আশ্চর্য. When teaching a course in grammar, Vyakaran, and explaining it with notes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his disciples about the glories of Lord Krishna. All explanations culminated in Krishna, and his disciples would understand them very easily. Thus, his influence was wonderful. Anybody would like to read the purport? Asha Mahaprabhu, would you like to read the purport if you're available?
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Jiva Goswami compiled a grammar in two parts named Lagu Hari Namamrita Vyakaran and Brihadharinamamrita Vyakaran. If someone studies these two texts in Vyakarana grammar, he learns the grammatical rules of the Sanskrit language and simultaneously learns how to become a great devotee of Lord Krishna. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Khanda, first chapter, there is a statement about the method by which Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught grammar. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the aphorisms of grammar to be eternal, like the holy name of Krishna. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Vedesya sarve aham eva vedya. The purport of all revealed scriptures is understanding of Krishna. Therefore, if a person explains anything that is not Krishna, he simply wastes time laboring hard about fulfilling the aim of his life. If one simply becomes a teacher or professor of education but does not understand Krishna, it is to be understood that he is among the lowest of mankind. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7:15, Naradhama Maya Parahata Jnana. If one does not know the essence of all revealed scriptures but still becomes a teacher, his teaching is like the disturbing braying of an ass.
Thank you, Prabhu. So aphorism, this is something actually I wanted to take a look. So let's look what is aphorism before we do some analysis of the verse. A concise statement of a scientific principle, typically by an ancient classic author. So aphorism in grammar. So let's see. So it's aphorism is a short saying that articulates a generally accepted truth about life. It's common for them to be humorous or big. So here it's the Lord is saying it's like expressing a general to the principle. So he was explaining grammar, in a manner that everyone can know about Lord Krishna and about Lord Krishna's glories and also the holy name of Lord Krishna. So he was saying that these aphorisms of grammar, whatever aphorisms that they use in the grammar, they're like the holy name of Lord Krishna because they're eternal. They were there in, before we were born, they're still there, those aphorisms, these truths and essentials, and they'll be there even after we leave the body. So similarly, Lord's holy name existed even before the creation. The holy name is here, and after the creation is annihilated, the holy name will be there because the holy name is none other than the Lord. So we see Jiva Goswami was such a scholar. Jiva Goswami actually wrote grammar in two parts. We see Lagu Harinamamrit Vyakaran and Brihad Harinamamrit Vyakaran. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying if somebody studies these two texts or grammars, then he will not only learn the grammatical rules, which are very difficult to learn, first of all, and then more difficult is to remember, but then he will also become a great devotee of the Lord. So Jiva Goswami is considered the prominent scholar after Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatana Goswami winded up their pastimes. So he was the prominent scholar and he was accepted as the authority for the Gauriya Vaishnavas during that time. So in Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhyakantu we see Vinamdas Thakur also mentions that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to teach grammar. So his students used to be very surprised with the examples that Mahaprabhu used to bring while explaining grammar. So here Prabhupada is saying if just somebody becomes a teacher and a professor but doesn't give effort to understand Lord Shri Krishna, then he's using a very strong word. He's saying lowest among the mankind. And he's giving example from Bhagavad Gita 7:15. He's saying again. So he's saying all this knowledge that the scholar has. Actually, Maya has taken away all the real knowledge and just let him this material knowledge. So he's saying, and also Prabhupada used a very sharp analogy, like if somebody, does not know the essence of all revealed scriptures, which is what, which is that Lord Krishna is the source of everything. So then he becomes a teacher, but he compared the teaching of the teacher with braying of an ass. An ass can bray and do so many things, but that doesn't have any value. So I would stop here and see if anyone has any reflection or questions, or in online if there's some reflection or questions. Ashramata Prabhu, is there anything online?
Yes, Prabhu.
Is there any question or any reflection online?
Let me check. No, Prabhu, I don't see any comments or questions online.
Okay.
Continue, Prabhu.
So anyone on the audience here?
Yeah, anyone in the Zoom, if you have questions, please unmute and ask questions or comments, anything.
A reflection.
Or reflection, yes. Okay, Prabhu. Looks like.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Only thing I would add that how our acharyas also, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our acharyas like Jiva Goswami and all, right? So they kept that that mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that anything we do, even the Vyakaran, because grammar was at that time like they didn't have like physics, chemistry, all those things, right? So they had grammar was very important, they will learn that also in keeping Krishna in the center.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, Lord Krishna is saying Arjun that Ma Manusmara Yuddhacha, right, in the 8th chapter, that even if you are fighting, you should try to keep my name in your mind. So in any task we engage, we should never forget Krishna. So that's, I mean, they very much lived that life. Basically, our acharyas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he showed that grammar doesn't mean that it has to be dry rules of grammar. We can inject names and pastimes of Krishna there, so that we remember Krishna always. I was reflecting that one. Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was a very nice reflection. So I will go ahead. So today is also Udan Shashti. So what happens? This is a very special day. for Lord Jagannath, as you all know. This day, what happens? The Lord and Balaram and Subhadra Maharani, they wear winter garment. So this is actually considered the beginning of winter. So the servants, associates of the Lord, they take great effort and they go to weavers and they get this starched upper garments for the Lord and Baladev and Subhadra Maharani. So they then, it's like a festival in Puri Dham, it's a big festival. And with this, actually, the festivities end for Lord Jagannath in Srikshetra Puri. So what happens, there are a lot of arrangements, and then what happens, the Lord dresses in this starched clothes, and there are musical offering going on around, and then the Lord just enjoys this time with his devotees, and the devotees also intimately serve the Lord through different means. So even in our ISKCON in near to Mayapur, where the Jagannath Dev temple is, I'm not actually recalling the name of that place. I don't know why suddenly.
Rajapur?
Yes, bro. Thank you so much. So in Rajapur, also they celebrate Pradhan Shashti. And there also they give upper garments to Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra Maharani. And there are kirtan going around. There are nice prasadam. So it's a very festive atmosphere. And during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time also, this used to be observed. And Mahaprabhu with his associates used to join this festival in Jagannath. And then he used to observe the Lord's look with the warm garments. And then he used to dance with his associates. He used to observe the festivities. It's a very intimate pastime of the Lord. The Lord, in his emotion, with his emotions as a devotee, he was looking at Lord Jagannath and he was relishing Lord Jagannath's darshan during this special time. It's mentioned. So, what happened one time? Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who is Gadadhar Pandit's Diksha Guru, he also joined in Puri, this festival. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi is none other than considered Radharani's father in the Gaura Ganadeshwar Deepika. So he also initiated Gadadhar Pandit in Navadvipa. He initiated Gadadhar Pandit in Navadvip when he came to visit Navadvip. And this was when Mahaprabhu was doing his household pastimes. So there's a nice story how Gadadhar Pandit first misunderstood Pundarik Vidyanidhi, but later, after Pundarik Vidyanidhi heard a Bhagavatam slok about the Lord killing Putana and giving her highest destination, the Lord giving highest destination to his enemy, who wanted to kill him. That actually created such static in Pundarik Vidyanidhi. He started running around. So that pastime is very nicely described in Chaitanya Bhagavat and also mentioned a little bit in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he's none other than Vishwavana Maharaj, and Pundarik Vidyanidhi is actually from. Then it was called Chatigram. Now it is called Chattogram. So it's also a very holy Shri Part because Pundarik Vidyanidhi residence was there. Gadadhar Pandit's Gadadhar Pandit's father and his ancestors, and Gadadhar Pandit's paternal ancestors are from Chattogram, and then Mukunda that he's also from, and then Vasudev, he's also from Chattogram. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi came to Jagannath Puri during this special festival of Oran Shashti. And what happened there? He was observing the festival with his friend Sarup Damodar Goswami. So Sarup Damodar and Pundarik Vidyanidhi, they are close friends. And they used to go to take darshan of Lord Jagannath every day morning together. And then they used to come back together. You know, just what happens when two friends get together. They used to discuss many aspects. They used to talk about how the Lord is looking. They used to talk about how the Lord is being served, what their personal feelings. They used to share their realizations and feelings like you will do with one of your friends. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi observed, hey, what's going on? Here they're wearing Lord Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra some starched clothes. So he became very astonished because, according to regulative worship of the rod in Vaidya worship, starched clothes are considered impure. Because what happens, they actually put the cloth in the white substance which you get when you boil rice. They used to put the cloth there, and then they used to dry it. So the cloth used to become very hard. So those kind of clothes are considered impure, and they're not eligible. I mean, those clothes are not eligible to be offered to the Lord before washing them. So that's what Srila Prabhupada also mentioned in his purport 1678 in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he mentioned that Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he initiated Gadadhar Pandit for the second time, and on the day of Puran Shashti, Pundarik Vidyanidhi saw the festival. And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that since he wanted to find some fault in the devotees, he became indignant. So he thought, how come they offer these starched clothes to the Lord, which are not suitable to offer to the Lord? Why don't they just wash it nicely, dry it, and then offer to the Lord? So he told Sri Damodar Goswami about this when he was coming back to his residence with Sri Damodar Goswami. He said, hey friend, hey Sakha, what is going on here? Why they are offering starched clothes to Lord Jagannath? And Sri Damodar Goswami smiled and said, since the Lord is the ultimate authority here in Jagannath Puri, and he is allowing it, then it is right. Why you are so much worrying? Then Pundarik Vidyanidhi said, I understand what you're saying, but the Lord can do anything, right? He's beyond any rules and regulations. But the servants who offered that cloth to Lord Jagannath, they are not beyond these rules and regulations. So why they should offer this type of clothes to the Lord? Then Swarup Damodar Goswami said, see, in my opinion, if the Lord didn't want to wear this kind of clothes, the king wouldn't have allowed this to happen. The king would have stopped offering this type of clothes to Lord Jagannath, and he would have taken the proper measure against the servants. But since this is being allowed, so the Lord's consent is there. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi didn't agree with Swarup Damodar, and that's why Srila Prabhupada is saying in his purport that he became, in 1678, that he became indignant. He started finding faults in these servants, of the Lord. And then he went back home and he started contemplating on this at night. And then sometimes I think it happens to you also. You're contemplating a specific thing which have happened today or a specific verse that you have read, and then you get to you get to sleep. And if you're fortunate, then probably you will see what you have been thinking in your dreams. Just kidding. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi in the dream saw something very interesting. He saw that Lord Baladev and Lord Jagannath came in in his dream and started slapping him. So Chaitanya, so actually Lord Jagannath was slapping on one cheek, and then simultaneously Lord Baladev was slapping on the other cheek of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi had to tolerate this slapping for like it's mentioned in Chaitanya Bhagavat that he had to tolerate this slapping for 14 minutes. So 40 minutes continuously he was being slapped left and right. And then the Lord and Lord Jagannath and Baladev were laughing actually. But then Pundarik Vidyanidhi requested forgiveness from the Lord. He said, "Here, O Lord, please have some mercy. I understand I made a mistake." Then Jagannath became merciful towards him. Actually, slapping him was also a part of his mercy only, the Lord's mercy, because whatever the Lord does with his devotees is nothing but mercy. He was rectifying Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and so that he can teach all of us how, if we try to find faults in devotees, that can act against us, and that can actually curb our progress in devotional service. So that's why he said, "Hey, who are you to talk about my servants? I like to wear this type of clothes, starched clothes. So it's none of your business to criticize my devotees on how they're serving me." So then Pundarik Vidyanidhi understood his mistake and he begged for forgiveness from Lord Jagannath. And then Lord Jagannath and Baladev, they disappeared. And what happened? Pundarik Vidyanidhi actually woke up at night, late night. When he woke up, he went to see in the mirror. And then he saw that both of his cheeks were swollen. So he felt, first of all, he felt himself fortunate. How about you? If you get slapped by the Lord in the dream, would you consider yourself fortunate? There will be pain, right? His cheeks were swollen, but he was considering himself fortunate. And he was contemplating how the Lord was merciful towards him. The Lord actually saved him from committing Vaishnava offense or offense towards the Lord's devotees. And that way the Lord checked him this kind of aparadhas, which could have negatively affected his progress in devotional service. So he actually mentioned a very nice verse in Bengali, which I'll read. It's from Chaitanya Bhagavat. শ্রবণের হৃদয় যে ব্রাহ্মণ সজ্জন তারা যত অপরাধ করে অনুক্ষণ অপরাধ হইলে দুই লোকে সুখ দুঃখ পায় স্বপ্নেহ অভক্ত পাপিষ্ঠেরে নাসি খায়. The translation is, what to speak of Yavanas, even respectable Brahmanas who constantly commit offense attain miseries in this life and in the next as a result of their offenses. Yet the Lord does not teach such sinful non-devotees in their dreams. So the Lord doesn't take any effort to teach these non-devotees. Even Brahmanas, if they commit mistakes, they have to suffer the reactions in this world. And if they commit Vaishnava offense, then forget about it. Their life is finished. We see these examples a lot in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat. we see how Chapal Gopal, he suffered from leprosy because he was offensive towards the Lord. And let's forget about Chapal Gopal. If we consider that very famous sannyasi in Varanasi, so I'm not recalling his name right now. Something is happening to them. Finding it difficult to recall some names. So Prakashananda Saraswati. Yes. So he also got a leprosy, and the reason behind that is actually he also was offensive towards the Lord in devotional service. He was uh, focusing on impersonal realization of the Lord, and he was preaching impersonal realization. And then the Lord actually mentioned how Prakashananda Saraswati was hurting him with this impersonal commentary he was giving on the scriptures. So the Lord, normally doesn't take any effort for normal people who, does this kind of sinful activities in life. They suffer their karmic reaction because of the offense they do towards the devotees. But he did teach Pundarik Vidyanidhi coming in his dream. He took that much before. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur actually wrote a nice commentary on this specific verse. I think it's in the 13th chapter of the Nitaicand, 154 to 145 verse. So he mentioned that the Supreme Lord always remains aloof from either rewarding or punishing the non-devotees, but since he is the well-wisher of the devotees, he rectifies his dear devotee by punishing him in his dream. So the Lord doesn't delay. In the first chance, he rectifies his devotee so that the devotee doesn't commit further offense, he understands his mistake, and then can progress in devotional service. So this pastime, Srila was listed in Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur in the last chapter, and it was the last story that he describes. So we can understand how much significant this pastime is. Vrindavan Das Thakur is an incarnation of Maharshi Vedavyas, as per Gauraganadash Deepika. He wrote this literature, Chaitanya Bhagavat, and he mentioned about this pastimes in the end. And he also mentioned how much dear Pundarik Vidyanidhi was to the Lord. Lord Sri Chaitanya, he was very dear. Lord Chaitanya used to call him father, Bap in Bengali. And obviously, he was his father-in-law in spiritual world, in a sense, because he was none other than Vrishabhana Maharaj, Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And there is a nice holy place called Pundarik Dham in Chattogram. So if you get a chance to visit Bangladesh again, please do visit Pundarik Dham. And there is Shamakund, there's Radhakund, and then there are other pastimes of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and nearby there is Bhajan Kutir of Vasudev and Mukunda Datta. So that's how the Lord used to take care of his associates. So Jagannath Dev used to be called, non-moving Lord, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to be called moving Lord. So during Rath Yatra pastime, it used to be a wonderful scenery. Then obviously Jagannath Dev also used to move in cart, but then the Lord used to move on his legs. Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So this is what I wanted to discuss about Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi and also Oran Shashti. So very nice festival today, and there are a lot of nice pastimes and lessons associated. So what we discussed today is we have discussed about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth, the significance of the time he took birth. We discussed a little bit about the glories of his associates. Then we also discussed about how Jiva Goswami wrote these two Vyakaranas and how he, in different ways, he tried to engage with general populace also in devotional service, and how he got the inspiration actually from none other than Gauranga Mahaprabhu himself, because when Mahaprabhu had Chatushpati, the school in Mukunda Sanjay's place, he used to do the same thing. He used to teach grammar to his students. He was an expert in grammar and he used to teach grammar to his students in this method so that they can also become good devotees of the Lord, apart from being great grammatician. And then we discussed about Orange Tuesday Festival, how it takes place in Jagannath Puri, how it is the last festival of the year. And then we discussed how Srila Pundarik Vidyanidhi was personally taught by the Lord, and by coming in his dream and slapping him. And then I wanted to mention a few other things actually. When Pundarik Vidyanidhi then and Sarup Damodar the next day, he actually came in the morning to receive Pundarik Vidyanidhi, I mean, to actually take Pundarik Vidyanidhi to take darshan of the Lord. And then Pundarik Vidyanidhi was still in bed, and then Sarup Damodar asked him, what happened? Why you still sleeping in the bed? Then, you know what happens when your best friend asks a question, you reveal it, right? What happened? The Pundarik Vidyanidhi revealed how the Lord came in his dream and taught him a lesson. Also, Lord Balaram came. So, hearing this, Sarup Damodar was very astonished. You know what happens when two people are good friends? One friend gets this kind of mercy from the Lord, the other friend also becomes happy. They don't have any envy or jealousy within them. So Sri Damodar was very happy that Pundarik Vidyanidhi got this kind of mercy from the Lord. He said, I've never heard that the Lord personally coming in dream and teaching lesson to one of his devotees. You're very fortunate. So that way they had the interaction, and then both of them discussed about the mercy of the Lord, how the Lord Jagannath and Gauranga Mahaprabhu were taking care of their devotees, and they felt immense bliss. So this is what happens when two devotees come together. They discuss about Krishna, they discuss Harikatha, and they get unlimited pleasure and bliss. So with that, I will see if there's any comment, reflections, or questions in person who have joined in Zoom or online.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
is there any record of Sri Chaitanya Prabhuji's visit to South Indian temples? Detailed records?
Sri Vasudevan Prabhu is asking if there is any detailed record of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visiting South Indian temples. Yes, Prabhu, the record is there. It's in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, where in the Madhya Leela, the Lord visits the different temples of South India. Like he goes to actually Rameshwaram, and then he goes to many other temples. So those pastimes are very nice. He goes to Kurmakshetra, then he goes also to the many other holy places. Those are actually notified, and then in the commentary, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada, he explains about some of those places what Mahaprabhu did there. Apart from that, in Chaitanya Bhagavat also, the commentary is given actually for Chaitanya Bhagavat. The commentary is given by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He also mentioned in detail about each of these holy places. He went back to history actually, how this holy place appeared, and then how it is in current state. So both of these books, Chaitanya
Mhm.
Bhagavat
Oh,
and then Chaitanya Charitamrita, specifically, where Srila Prabhupada mentions in the commentary, in his commentaries, these different holy places of the Lord. I
oh.
mean, of holy places of South India where the Lord visited.
Mm. Thank you, Ra.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Yeah, here we can see chapter 9, Srila Ashrama Prabhupada actually put it in the screen. You see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's travels to holy places.
oh,
And most of them actually
Tirupati.
were, you
Okay.
see where he
Mhm.
went. See, Gautam Ganga, Mallikarjuna, Abahubala, Nishima, Siddhavata, Skanda Kshetra, Trimata, Vriddha Krishi, Buddhastan, Tirupati, Tirumala,
Mhm.
Panvinasana, Shiva Kanchi, Vishnu Kanchi, Trikalahasti, Vriddha-kala, Shriyavi Bhairavi, and Kaveri River, and the Kumbhakarna Kapale. We went to all this place. Thank you, Ashwada Prabhu, for bringing up
Oh,
the reference.
You're
thank you.
welcome.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Mhm. Any other
Yeah.
questions or reflections? Yes, Shila. Yes, Ashwada Prabhu. Yes.
Yeah, this is this particularly this pastime of Pundarik Vidyanidhi and Krishna and Balaram, right, coming in their dream. This whole thing is I mean, there's a lesson, but it's also quite humorous, right? And this shows that how Lord Krishna, um, with his specifically with his actually he does this with everyone, but specifically with his devotees, he ensures that um, if they are in the wrong path, then or they have some misconception in their mind, then it gets corrected very early, um, until it becomes a big problem later, right? So so that is the interesting, but it's also very humorous, basically, right? I mean, it was the Krishna and Balaram. First of all, they came in dream, although the effect was real. It was not that once the dream is over, right, everything is over. He did see his chick swollen, so it was real, the effect was real. Right, but it was not uh, causing any you know disability or death or something like that, right? uh, this is important, like uh, once I think it happened with the Arjuna also, right? Arjuna was made a promise after the death of Abhimanyu, right? He made a promise that by the tomorrow's sunset I will kill Jayadratha, right? Lord Krishna did not say anything at that time, and he made sure that through his ability to control um, the sun, that when the sun will set, he did ensure that Arjuna is able to you know Arjuna is able to kill Jayadratha, fulfill his promise. But after everything ends, and when he goes back to the tent, he tells Arjuna that next time, be careful what promise you make. I won't be able to save you every time. So so he also gives him warning that to the devotees, that simply because you are devotee, you should not be so proud that you are able to control everything, right? Ultimately, the control remains with Lord Krishna. So he corrects, basically Lord Krishna corrects the devotees in advance. So that's a consolation, actually. But of course, we should also have to be always remain humble, always remain humble to receive that message. um, Otherwise Lord Krishna may sometimes leave us, and face so that we face the consequences and learn. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
That was a very nice realization and very. I feel like the Arjuna's story was very relevant to this pastime in the aspect of how the Lord warned Arjuna that he won't be able to save in the next time. So thank you for sharing that. So, so Prabhu, I think we will, I'm done with the
Yes,
discussion, and I'll
it,
just do a Vaishnava prayer, and then Prabhu,
sure.
you can do any announcement if you want to make. Um, okay, Prabhu. So you can.
Vancha, yes, yes. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Ananta koti vaishnavrind ki jai. Aniruddha Nitaicand Prabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
So, Prabhu, you'd like to make any announcement?
Okay.
Only announcement yes, Vasudevan Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
No, nothing. Thank
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make an announcement that again next Wednesday. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining this class online, taking time from your busy lives. Next
Okay.
Wednesday again we'll have online only class, and this particular Saturday and Sunday we will have our regular class in the temple as well as online. So please come to the temple.
And
That's what
also,
I
I think,
wanted
Prabhu,
to.
there is a Harinam, right, on Friday?
Yes, there is a yes. Sorry, thank you for that. There is a big Harinam that will happen in San Francisco on Friday with, in the market and Powell Street at 11 o'clock. While the San Francisco people in San Francisco, they will be doing their shopping, Black Friday shopping. We will actually distribute, um, the spiritual literature, including Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and other literatures written by Srila Prabhupada to all the people who visit San Francisco. This is basically what we call as it's not monthly sankirtan, but it is like the sankirtan we do to kind of distribute the spiritual literature in the specific occasions. Basically, yeah, that's the announcement at 11 o'clock again between Market and Powell Street. The ISKCON devotees will gather there to distribute spiritual literature on this Friday, 28th. So if you have time, so please go and visit. Thank you for Prabhu for reminding me that one. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you again. We'll now close this session.